back on the big plays that defined an unforgettable 2006 season. We'll also see highlights of the public memorial service for the late legendary Bo Schembechler. We'll also meet a Wolverine whose glass is always half full and whose attitude about life is inspirational. All that and more coming up next. Michigan Replay with Lloyd Carr is brought to you in part by Diet Mountain Dew. How Dew does diet. By Pontiac, official performance machines of Michigan and the NCAA. By Gatorade Thirst Quencher. Gatorade, is it in you? By LaSalle Bank, proud to support the University of Michigan football program. LaSalle Bank, making more possible. And by Big Boy Restaurants. Oh boy, Big Boy, celebrating 70 years as your hometown family restaurant. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Michigan Replay. Good to have you all along with us. Hope you had a great holiday. Coach Carr, it's a week after, I know, a disappointing Ohio State game and Ohio State loss, but had some time.
How was your
It was
Thanksgiving?
very good. I'm supposed to be on a diet, and I didn't stick to it.
We're all.
I had mashed potatoes.
We all got to deal with that.
I know. I had yams. I even had dressing with gravy.
Why didn't you invite me over, Jim?
Well, you were busy. You told me you were busy.
No, you ate too
You don't
late,
ever
though,
want to
'cause-
socialize with me either, anyway.
Well, how about the
You
wine?
always beg off on it. Sorry, Jim, I've got to go get my wisdom teeth pulled. That's kind of the way you are. Anyway, reflect back a little bit on this season. It's a great season. I know we're disappointed about Ohio State, and yet it's still a great football season.
Well, you know, I can say this. It was fun going to work every day. Our coaches were great, and certainly every time we had an opportunity to be with the players, it was enjoyable.
And we go back and look at the highlights of this season. We start with the opening game against Vanderbilt, the BCS conference team. And you know what? The tone of this season was set early by the defense.
Well, they were, and Rondell Biggs breaks through there. Lamar gets a sack, and our defense did a great job throughout the course of this season.
And here's another great hit. Rondell Biggs makes a stop for a loss. And then a young man who really showed up a year ago, Mario Manningham, starts to explode on the scene on this touchdown pass.
Well, this is the fourth quarter, late fourth quarter, and we hit a big play. We hadn't hit one in the first half. But Mario Manningham, that became his signature, Jim.
Sure did. And you win that one 27-7, go on to game 2 against Central Michigan, a pretty darn good MAC school.
Well, Mike Hart, a healthy Mike Hart throughout this season, built on what he did as a freshman. Just had an outstanding year.
And again, the defense creates turnovers.
Well, there's Alan Branch, who came into his own, 330 pounds, one of the more dominating defensive tackles we've had.
And this next play is one of those great ones. A youngster doesn't get much playing time, gets the score.
Well, Max Pollock came here without a scholarship and at some point earned one. But, yeah, that's a dream come true, Jim.
And then the signature win, Lloyd, against Notre Dame in Game 3. Boy, it started good, didn't it?
Well, if you ever want to start out well on the road, this is the way to do it. Prescott Burgess is in good position, and the ball goes off the tight end's hands, and he takes it back for a touchdown. We're ahead 7-0.
And this is where Manningham became Super Mario.
Well, he ran a great route on that play and got behind the secondary. And Chad, we had worked that week hard on throwing the ball deep, and almost every ball he threw deep was a completion.
And here is Mario again. Touchdown. At that point, you're really putting Notre Dame away. But the most important thing is defense.
Well, here's Sean Cravel, who had an excellent year pressuring the quarterback, and we were able to do that throughout the course of the season.
And here's an exclamation point late in the game. Lamar Woodley is able to return this fumble for a score.
Well, you talk about a dream play. You know, if you're a defensive end and all of a sudden you find the ball and you have a chance to take it back late in the game, Lamar certainly showed the kind of desire that marked him as a great football player at Michigan.
47-21 the final. And then, Lloyd, a big victory against Wisconsin, because this turned out to be Wisconsin's only loss.
Well, Jim, Wisconsin, we felt going into the game, had a chance to be one of the top teams in the country, and right now they're in the top 10. They had a one-loss season, an outstanding football team. And here, Mario breaks loose for one of the big plays in the game, because it was difficult to run against that Wisconsin defense.
It all came back, though, to the defense, and they just continued to play so well.
Well, there's Branch again, and we held a very good offensive football team to 13 points.
Then you had to go to Minnesota and get back the jug.
Well, it was a very, very emotional week, because we coming off playing Notre Dame, a very, very good Wisconsin team, and now have to go into the Metrodome to play for the jug that they had won the year before.
And there you get two big scores, Arrington, Manningham, and then the team takes the jug back home. You win that one 28-14. Big victory.
Well, it was, and anytime that jug isn't in Ann Arbor, you don't want to leave it there twice.
The in-state rival game against Michigan State, everything starts with the sack of Drew Stanton by Prescott Burgess, and then Mario Manningham does it again from Chad Henne.
Well, again, perfectly thrown ball here, and Mario has a knack for getting behind the secondary, and great execution, great protection.
Got to look at your young freshman Brandon Miner in this one too.
Well, he got a chance to play throughout the course of this season. I think he gained a lot of confidence and proved that he's capable of being an outstanding player.
And late in the game, you get an interception from Jamar Adams, and Billy, that kind of sealed it, the 31-13 final.
Well, it was late in the game, and they still had a chance to get back in the game, and it was a big play.
At that point, halfway mark of the season, you're thinking, like, you got a pretty decent club, huh?
Well, yeah, we were. And, we knew we still had some outstanding football teams ahead of us. And I think the main thing, Jim, is we tried to improve every week. This team had a great work ethic, a great attitude.
All right, when we come back, we will take a look at the second half of the season and all the great plays as we continue with Michigan Replay. The Wolverines, after the first half of their season, unbeaten, but then came the end of a long run of tough football games when you had to go to Penn State. And a lot of people thought beginning of the second half of the season that game was going to be the most difficult one because you just completed all those tough ones.
Well, we talked about it before the season started, that that trip to Penn State, we knew that it was a nationally televised night game. We knew that crowd was going to really be into the game. We knew it was going to be a challenge.
And you loved the venue. It was so loud and everything, and yet the way you take a crowd out of it is with defense. And you really caused their quarterbacks all kinds of problems.
Well, it was a great defensive football game, I think, on both sides of the game. And, we were able to get great pressure on their quarterbacks, and our defense continued to get the ball back to us. Eventually, we were able to put a couple drives together. There's a typical Mike Hart drive, 6 or 7 yards after contact on that play, and then we get him in the end zone and take the lead.
That's a big 17-10 win. And then you have that final, what you'd call marquee game against Iowa in that stretch. And you get a big 37-yard field goal from Garrett Rivas early in the fourth quarter. And then the defense takes over, and then that leads to offense, doesn't it?
Well, this was one of the more physical games of the year, Jim. Iowa had come off a tough loss the prior Saturday and came in, put everything they had into this game. This was a physical, hard-hitting football game. And here Mike Hart on the zone schemes cut the ball back behind the nose guard. A great run because they had a guy free in the backfield. But Hart had quite a year.
20-6 the final against Iowa. You remain unbeaten. Then you go in against Northwestern. In this game, what you remember about this one was the weather.
It's ranks with the worst weather we've had here in the last 25 years. That wind and the rain, I mean, it was hard to hang on to the ball, much less throw it down the field and catch it.
Well, but you did a good job there. And defensively here, Leon Hall makes a great play. He gets a pick there, and that allows your offense to really put this away in a game that was closer than expected, but the weather was what created that.
Well, it was part of it, and certainly in those conditions, we did a good job with taking care of the football, and we ran the football. We had a good time of possession.
The final in that one was 17-3. Then you get Ball State. Now, you asked me earlier, why in the world is this in the highlights?
Well, that's typical of that game. We made 4 mistakes. We gave them 9 points to start the game, and then later gave up a couple big plays. But late in this game, Jim, we had to hang on in the fourth quarter and prove that we could win a game down when they had a chance to win it with a few minutes to go.
Well, the defense held on a goal line situation, and then Ball State was forced. They were only down 8 points, forced to throw a Hail Mary, and you were able to make the interception in the end zone. But 34-26 the final. That got you out of that game. Then you went on the road for your final 2 at Indiana, and this is where this team, I think, really focused in.
Well, they responded to what we considered a disappointment the week before. I think it focused us, and certainly Steve Breston had a big day in Bloomington.
This was his day, wasn't it? Because there had been some remarks made about Steve earlier, and he really responded. 2 touchdowns. It was his day all the way.
Well, we got him loose on a punt return. We got him deep for a touchdown. But throughout the course of this season, he made a lot of plays that went unheralded. But he was an outstanding competitor. He was willing to play without the football, and he made a lot of big plays for us.
And the final in that one was 34-3 Michigan, and then of course came the finale at Columbus against Ohio State. And this is where you get down and you really fight back. It shows that this team had the tenacity to stay with it.
Well, we put a great drive, the opening drive of the game. We took 80 yards, a great drive for a touchdown, got the lead, and then fell behind 14-7 or 21-7, came back, and they scored late in the half. We went in down 2 touchdowns at the half.
Then you come back, and the third quarter, you get to within a score. Then you get the break on the interception. Great defense, great hustle by Alan Branch.
Well, there's a great play there by David Harris, Jim, who had a sensational year. And Alan Branch hustling to the football, make a big interception. It was one of the more disappointing situations in the game because we had to settle for a field goal there after getting the ball deep in Ohio State territory.
If you'd have gotten the score, it might have been different. But again, under 3 minutes, you're fighting back. You make it 42-39, but unable to get the onside kick, and that was the final.
Yep, we were in a situation where we didn't have time to, because of our timeout situation. So the onside kick didn't work, and they had time to run the clock out.
You go into the year with win every game, and this team won all but one. As you look back on it now, you said at the top of the show it was a great team to coach, and that you enjoyed going to work every day. That says volumes, I think, about this group in this year.
Well, I can never be more proud of a group because of the way they attacked the season. I think we're obviously disappointed because the standard here, the goal here is championship football. We wanted to win the Big Ten championship, and we had a chance to do more, and who knows. But certainly these guys have some memories, and they've given our fans some memories for a long time.
They have indeed. When we come back, we will take a look at the public memorial for the late Bo Schembechler. Stay with us. That's next, right here on Michigan Replay. Welcome back, everyone, to Michigan Replay. As you all well know, if you're a Michigan fan, this past week we lost the legendary Bo Schembechler to heart failure. They had a wonderful event Tuesday of last week at Michigan Stadium. A final farewell, a public farewell to the coach. And as you and I both know, it wasn't so much that he was the coach, but he was a good friend. And that's tough to not have him there in the office. It's tough not to know you can call on him and ask him for advice.
Well, yeah, we'll have to deal with that as we go forward. But, Jim, the outpouring of support and the people who have shown up here that come from all over the country to pay their respects. And truly, there's a lot to celebrate about Bo's life.
There is indeed. Let's go back now to that celebration ceremony at Michigan Stadium as Michigan Replay brings you a few highlights. have 77 years of this man's life to remember, and we've got a lifetime to remember it and celebrate it. How lucky we all are that we had the opportunity to know and love this man.
Bo Schembechler will be a part of Michigan as long as this university displays the remarkable integrity that he embodied so deeply. He will be part of Michigan forever.
One year I went in to see him late in his career, and I said, Bo, I said, I had a call from Lou Holtz. He's offered me a job down there as a defensive coordinator, and it's good money, and I think I should go down and talk to him. He sat back in his chair. He said, no.
And to the players, Bo Burns and all of us, he will never be far away. If you want to hear him, just stop and listen to your heart, because he's always there. Thank you very much. And go Blue.
All of you guys can say, I'm a Michigan man. I played for Bo. And all you coaches can say, I coached for Bo. All the rest of us can say, I love Bo Schembechler. Thank you.
The first day I hear Bo is in residence in his office down in the football building, I come walking on down, and I'm coming down the hallway, and as luck would have it, here he comes walking out of his office, and I just stick out my hand, and I put on the $10 million smile, and I said, hello, Coach Schembechler. I am so glad you're here. I've got my hand out. His hand goes right past my hand, grabs me right around the midsection, and he goes, you're fat, you're mine, and I never forget.
I think the thing that, Coach, you mentioned going into that was the outpouring of support, but where it came from. I mean, it came from everywhere. Great coaches like John Robinson coming back.
Ara Parsegian,
right.
Alex
Agassi.
Agassi. I mean, and so many great players that Bo coached, and people that have had great success outside of football as well.
When we come back, we will meet Jerome Jackson, an inspirational player on this year's Michigan team. That's coming up next right here on Michigan Replay. You know, when Lamar Woodley was recruited at Michigan, it was a recruiting coup, great player. But along with Lamar from Saginaw High School came a guy named Jerome Jackson, a running back. Now, Jerome hasn't had the same kind of career as Lamar, not the All-American, but he's still a great player. And you'll never hear him say a discouraging word about his hometown hero and teammate, Lamar Woodley, and all his success. All you'll hear from Jerome Jackson is admiration.
It's great to watch him play, you know, and I think he feels the same way about me. So we've been playing together since 7th grade. So it's, every year I could see him get better and better. So just to see him develop and become a dominant player that he's become, I mean, it's great just to watch him every day. Me and Lamar, we go good together. You know, without him, you know, it'd have been hard for me to, you know, make it through these 4 years, and probably the same way with him.
Jerome Jackson is a wonderful young man. At another place, he'd probably be a starter and a star. But you'll never hear this young man complain. He's a positive guy who looks at his career as a great one, and there's no place he would rather be.
But I'm happy with the situation that I'm in. You know, I had a great career here, I feel. You know, had great moments, you know, helped the team win last year, helped the team win this year. So, you know, I mean, I'm loving my experience here, you know. I love the opportunity, and that's what football is about. It's all about opportunity, you know, and I'm loving it.
And don't think for a moment that Jerome Jackson hasn't been a major contributor. He has had his all-star moments during his career at Michigan, like the Iowa game in 2005.
And they hand the ball to Jackson, right side, he knives forward. Touchdown, Michigan wins! In overtime at Iowa, Jerome Jackson takes it in OT.
Scoring the winning touchdown in overtime, you know, that would always be my favorite moment, you know. Many people can't say that they, you know, scored the touchdown in overtime, game on the line coming off the bench cold. So, I mean, that's like my greatest moment right there. You know, I'll never forget that. And I thank my coaches for believing in me and giving me the opportunity.
Diet, he's a great kid. This is a kid that could have started a lot of places. Never a discouraging word, never got down, just kept plugging, and loves his opportunity that he had here.
Well, Jim, you know, in most cases, your friendships in Michigan football are forged after you get here. You know, he and Lamar had a great friendship going back, and it was enriched here. But what you say about a kid like, from a coaching standpoint, Jerome Jackson, what he did, he made a statement to all of his teammates that just be ready when your opportunity comes and do whatever you can do to help your team. And that was, you know, he just said that was what was important, and that's the value of
that's why he's a special young man.
Yep.
You know, real quickly, let's talk a little bit about the rankings and all that. We got the BCS rankings, and while we taped this show, we weren't sure of exactly where things were going because some games weren't done. You were still number 2 last week. Does it matter? There's still a lot of football to be played, Coach.
Well, there's a lot of football to be played. A lot of things can happen. It's going to really be, I think, very, very interesting to see how it goes out. And I think regardless of what happens, there'll be some controversy because that's what we're used to. That's what we're accustomed to.
And you just love controversy.
I wouldn't say that.
We love him. He's great. We're glad that you all joined us today on this special Michigan Replay. We'll be back with more Michigan Replay. Keep an eye on your local listings. For now on, so long, everybody.